Today is April 21st, 2026, the city council meeting for the city of Harriman. We will open up with a prayer by Mr. Wright, and then we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Shall we pray? Our Heavenly Father, Creator and Ruler of the universe, we're gathered here again as mayor and council to conduct the business of our citizens. And Father, we appreciate that we have been entrusted to represent our people. We ask for your guidance and seek to carry out our duties that will be pleasing to you. Father, thank you so much for our town and our citizens. We pray a special blessing upon them. And Father, we ask that you would bless our nation and its leaders. The storm clouds seem so dark, but we know that in the end, you and you alone are in charge.
Yes.
In the name of Jesus, we pray these things. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have our agenda before us. Teresa, if you'll call a roll.
Tim Johnson.
Here.
Alicia Harris.
Here.
John Brackett.
Here.
Lonnie Wright.
Here.
Cheryl Laxton. Here. David Vansdale.
Here.
Approval of the correction of the minutes of April the 7th, 2026.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
The motion by Mr. Johnson. Anything?
No.
Mr. Brackett, anything?
ma'am.
Call the roll.
Tim Johnson.
Yes.
Alicia Harris.
Yes.
John Brackett.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Yes.
Cheryl Laxton.
Yes.
David Vansdale.
Yes.
Approval to pay the bills.
Motion.
Second.
It's been motioned by Lady Commissioner Cheryl Laxton.
That's hard to get out sometimes.
It's hard to get out. I'm sorry.
It is.
You have anything, Cheryl?
No.
Mr. Wright?
No, sir.
Okay. Call the roll.
Tim Johnson.
Yes.
Alicia Harris.
Yes.
John Brackett.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Yes.
Cheryl Laxton.
Yes.
David Vansdale.
Yes.
At this time, we'll hear any delegations or citizen comments at this particular time.
Bear, you got anything to say?
That's up, Shirley Bear.
There being none, we'll move on to the next item, which is a report by Treasurer. Mr. Haley.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'll keep my report short, seeing as how I understand that the city manager has an extraordinarily long report tonight.
Yes, thank you.
So you have the financial statements there in front of you, and just the only thing that I feel like was needed to be pointed out was under the codes enforcement. And I put a side note out there for you all that the reason for that overage there in the budget is because of the Hester Gilliam cleanup project, and that was a substantial amount of money that wasn't necessarily budgeted. So I do see that that's reflected there. All the other major departments are either at or under budget, so very happy to see that. And just a quick update, the Comptroller's Office sent the letter today of approving the $2.2 million loan, and so we expect that to go to market, that bond offering to go to market in the next 10 days, I believe, next 10 business days. And I'll keep you all updated via email how that bond offering goes. Lastly, I did hear from the auditors, and since we spent $1 million or over $750,000 of ARPA money in fiscal year 2025, we're subjected to what's called a single audit. A single audit is an additional separate audit on top of the one that we have. It's not that involved, but it did delay a little bit the performance of their duties. It was an additional task that they had to take on. So, but that's been finished, is my understanding. It's in final review. So I'll be getting the financial statements and the adjusting entries in the next week or so. And then once I get that approved and back to them, then they'll file it with the Comptroller's Office.
So 2 questions from me. So we did not have to have the single audit last year for ARPA funds?
We didn't meet the threshold of expenditure of over $750,000.
Okay.
You have to spend over $750 in one fiscal year. Yeah.
Okay. So you think that we will have the approval, quote unquote, of the audit, of our audit before we I guess, finish up our budget for 2027?
For sure, yeah, I would expect us to have everything fully completed. I'm hoping by the end of the month, and, you know, at worst, I think by mid-May, but I fully expect it to be mostly finished by the end of the
And
month.
with completion, that means sending the report to our comptroller.
Right, and that's completely up to the auditors. I can't speak for them on that, but internally, the part that's most important to me from a budgetary perspective, and I think that's what you're asking about, is gonna be completed very soon.
Okay.
And so I'll be able to enter, for those who have been involved in the process before for the budget, entering in last year's numbers in the budget, so you can see audited numbers versus projected numbers. I think that's what you're referring to. We'll absolutely be able to have that in time for the budget, final draft.
Anyone else have any questions or comments for Mr. Ayler?
I do. Chris, on the codes enforcement, the Hester Gillum, does it make a difference where you put that? I mean, or why did we put it in codes enforcement?
Because it was property cleanup, and that specific line item shows up under codes enforcement.
Okay.
Yeah, because whenever we have to, for example, condemn a building and then have it
Okay.
torn down, that's where the line item
Okay.
is for that,
All right.
yes.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Anyone else?
Thank you, Mr. Ayler.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ayler.
Mr. Owens, our city attorney.
All right, not a whole lot new to report on tonight. Other than one of the, you know, a couple of things that you're gonna be considering tonight, we've had a hand in, you know, including the abandoned and immobile vehicles ordinance. We used to call them, and still do, junk vehicles. But how to handle those, what procedure to go through, and a lot of that has changed in the last couple of years, and so we can go over that when we get to it. But I know Gavin was here last night. We had prepared a PowerPoint to provide a little bit of education for our beer board, and we'll be glad to provide other boards the same kind of thing. But I know he went over some procedures as well as, of course, the sunshine law and all of that, so, and I think he enjoyed doing it, so.
What was the turnout like?
What was it, Scott?
All the beer board members were present, with the exception of one, and myself and Keita were in attendance.
Okay.
But the only items on the agenda, they had to elect a chairperson and a vice chair, so they conducted that means of business, and then the other part of the meeting was the in-service or training by Gavin.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you, Mr. Owens. Any questions for Mr. Owens? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So now we move on to the individual. I think he missed the last meeting, didn't he, Keita? So I think he has stacked up and he
Yeah.
is gonna be ready to give us a lot of information. Mr. Scott Mason, the city manager at this time.
He's not been here in so long, you don't know how it works with liquor.
I see that.
Clicker.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, and thank you, members of the City Council. Cole, if you could click to the next slide for me, please. There we go. And it's not that lengthy. I just want to give you a broad overview today. Yeah, that's perfect, Cole. Before I start, I would like to issue a huge congratulations to two of our employees. At the gala Friday night, Jen Turner, our events coordinator and director of economic development, was awarded the Dr. Paul Goldberg Young Professional Award. And
Great.
if you know Dr. Paul Goldberg from Roane State and the history and the impact he had in our county, and so they honor each year a young professional. So Jennifer was selected and couldn't think of anybody more deserving, so she was honored Friday night for that. And then congratulations also as well to Nathan, our codes enforcer. He has been studying. He completed his final test last night for commercial building inspector. So now he holds residential, commercial, and building inspector credentials. And he's worked very hard on that. I'll finish up these slides in just a second. We had a planning meeting last Wednesday night and had about a packed house. We had some a full agenda, but one of those was a proposal at Emery Crossing for the developer, who's John Huber, to go through the PUD route to change what was in phase 2 of Emery Crossing. And basically, he wanted to come in and get approval from Planning Commission that the PUD would be approved, which would allow them to use, some people call joint townhomes, some people call it duplexes. So there was a long discussion about that, and it was denied as a result in the meeting. So that recommendation is going to come before council tonight. No, I'm sorry, that does not have to come before council. That's what I want to tell you about that tonight. And basically what it was, the phase 1 was single-family homes. I think on the behalf of the Planning Commission, they felt as well that plan was presented a couple of years ago, phase 1 and phase 2 would have single-family homes. And for whatever reason, they decided they would like to change and try and go the PUD route to get the joined townhomes on that second phase, and it was denied. So I think Councilwoman Laxton, who is on the Planning Commission, questioned what's the next step, and it's up for air. So we'll up in the air for what their plans might be, but we'll certainly keep you updated on that.
Did he indicate if he couldn't get that changed, that they would not put additional homes?
He wasn't specific is what his answer was, because Councilwoman Laxton asked, you may leave. He said, that is an option. He said another option could be trying to find another group or company that might come in that he would sell that phase to, and they would build. So there are a couple of other options. And
If you want me to tell them what I said, and I had heard that he had personally said he would leave if we didn't agree with this. And me and myself said, oh, well, that's like taking your toys and going home if you don't get your way. And he didn't, he left angry.
And I think behalf, and one of the members, Luther, expressed, had this plan been proposed from the onset as maybe single-family homes, and then phase 2 this, it might have been more well-received, but to change it in midstream was not fair to the people who had already purchased homes out there.
They came before this council and gave blew it all up, and HUB and the city gave in to everything they wanted and did, and now they want to change.
So depending on which route they choose to do with phase 2, it might involve a legal consult on behalf of the city of Harriman and HUB. We've not discussed that, or I haven't with Candace just yet, but I'll keep you updated on that situation. We did have, as our legal counsel advised last night, we had a beer board meeting where they elected a new chair, a new vice chair, but also went through their training through Gavin. It was very good. They explained the importance and the role of the Sunshine Law, the different permits we have, and revocation procedures, and shall means shall. So about a 45-minute meeting, but it was well received, and glad of all of our members that were there as well.
Who was elected chairman and vice chair?
Eric Knuth was elected as chair, and Alan Williams was elected as vice chair.
So Alan's on the beer board and the planning commission.
Correct. And that is one of the requirements to be on the beer board. I don't want to get these mixed up, but I think part of those members of the beer board, you have to have one member from the planning commission that sits on the beer board, as well as the city council representative as well. So we are, and Gavin did say, our beer board is now under compliance. It has been, but.
That's a good chairman, too.
Yeah.
Tim, are you on beer board? Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling too well yesterday.
Okay.
Following the beer board meeting, we had an IDB meeting. We did not have a quorum to conduct business, but I've got a slide to show you of what we discussed there. This is just a couple of examples. We hired Ben Briley as our director of beautification and took over for Jess Rittenhouse. So I asked him just to take some before and after pictures. And right here, they put pine straw right here in front of the Temperance Building. And then I've asked him to look at our Welcome to Harriman signs. So you can see on the left and then on the right. Now that is an AI generated. He's not gotten all the plants in on the right, but it's close to looking like that.
Okay.
But some other things they've done, they've been really active in picking up trash. Of course, he has the inmate crew. on the I-40 bridge going through on 27, removed all those vines, working on the Kiwanis pillars, not only coming down Pansy Hill, but Oakdale Highway as well. And then also some better looking boxes, planter boxes that'll be on either side of Mayor's Alley, which much more pleasing to the eye, and I think it'll just really set that off as well. So they're very active. You have projects. He's got a lot lined up. Most recently this week, they helped at the library, and I'll explain what they did yesterday and today. So a little bit off his schedule. A lot of events coming up this weekend, and over the next 2 weeks, we have the community-wide yard sale, and that's this Saturday. I think Jen told me they've got over 60 people just going to be at Riverfront Park, and that does not include the Cornstalk Heights residents. So it's going to be taking place this Saturday from 8 to 1. We're also doing our Harriman Community-Wide Cleanup Day. That'll be 9 to 4. That is limited to City of Harriman residents only, but if they want to clean their yard up, they can go to the city dump. We'll have 2 employees there to be checking for IDs. We'll take anything and everything with the exception of paint and tires. We will take mattresses, but that'll be $20 if they bring a mattress. Last year we had over 100 mattresses that were dropped off, and if you take it to the recycling center, they're $25. But 2 city employees will be down there to assist them with removal of trash and check their IDs, and that'll be from 9 to 4. Also, Friday is the deadline for our art contest. And I forgot to ask Jen this morning, but I think we've had 10 entries so far. So she was going to double back with our elementary schools and our middle schools and our high schools this week. And then our hope is to be able to take one of these and move it to places for murals throughout the city. So hopefully this will be an ongoing event. And then, of course, our May Day that is coming up on May the 2nd from 10 to 2. Currently, she has over 92 vendors signed up for May Day. So that is the largest we've ever had before.
Scott?
Yes, ma'am.
I was down at the community center, I guess it was one day last week maybe, and John was telling me that some group was going to plant flowers in all the planters down there. Do you know? I mean, I'd like
Community
to,
center?
yeah, in the big planters.
We had a local group email me today that wants to do the trail, the Dr. Ayler Trail. They want to clean it as a community-wide project. I'm not aware if it's the Harriman Master Gardeners. I'll look into that.
Yeah, he said it was he talked like it was youth. It was a youth group, or kids, so.
Yeah, I'll certainly find out and would like to bring them, maybe,
Yeah,
at least
I'd like
recognize
to be
them in
able to
front of
recognize,
council.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll check with John on that.
Okay.
This is just a plat of the Phase 1 and Phase 2 that I was talking about that the planning committee denied that PUD. That is the layout currently. Those are about all full with houses, but the Phase 2 is the darker area behind there. From our IDB meeting last night, met with probably 3 interested parties on the industrial development on our industrial site out down Fisk Road. And over the past probably 6 to 8 months, we've had AI, we've had manufacturing. Here recently, we've had 3 or 4 builders interested in putting homes out there. So in our discussion Friday with one particular group, you look at this plat, and if you remember the issues we had, or the IDB had, as we were transitioning from the Renaissance Fair to taking control of it, there were a lot of issues with the surveys and surveys that weren't registered. So there are question marks. You look at Fisk Road right now, and that's coming off Fisk Road, Spencer Drive. That's a gravel road. The most recent survey showed that road actually belonged to that property right there, and which means that road is really a driveway for them. It is not a city road. It's never been a city road. We have an ordinance, all city roads must be paved. But there was apparently an easement that had never been registered as well. So that's one issue with that property.
And who does the gravel road belong to?
If you look on Tennessee Property Assessor in the most recent survey, it belongs to that family that has a double wide right there. So the group that they purchased it from, the seller actually had this survey done. What was wrong with this survey, we think it encroached on not only the city property. Section 58 up there is the city property that we own, the IDB. So So a portion of it was taken, as well as a portion of the Fisk Heights, the housing district, with this last survey. So I'm gonna have to get with Greg Lefew and talk to our legal counsel about what the next step is. It is a mess. So we talked about that in IDB last night, and this developer that I met with Friday, he said, Scott, here's the issue. All of this is a mess right here. This is privately owned.
Right. Is that,
Owned by Barry Paulson.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, the TVA,
Okay,
formerly the
we're not
TVA
that
building.
far over yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the
Gotcha.
possibility, what I would like to do, and I told IDB, we've got to clear this up. We've got to have an easement. In our discussions last night, if you came off Fisk Road, this is owned by Inland Ports as well as 5701. If we could be granted or work with, and Inland Ports may be willing to sell that to the IDB and the city, at least have an easement that would connect to this existing easement that is owned by Inland Ports, or would connect to this point right there, which is owned by the City of Harriman and IDB. That would give clear access to the property. And what they were truly interested in was the property where the Renaissance Fair was. You go on around, and we own some more property, but it's a little more hilly. So we're looking at that. We discussed about the best possible route to take that. So I'll reach out to Inland Ports, Charles Ryan, this week, and try and see what we can't make some type of progress into having better access. And in the meantime, the surveys that weren't filed and listed, all this area up in there, that'll have to come later.
I
So
thought the
their
property
legal,
that-
their
I thought
legal.
the property that Mary owned, we were had already talked to her about getting that from her.
Yes.
Has she,
She reached out to me and the mayor probably about a month ago, and we had a meeting scheduled, and she had to change. So told the IDB I will reach out to her this week as well and see, what her intentions are with that piece of property. But if we could get this easement here, all of that, this would give us access, clear-cut access to our property, whatever decided the council and the IDB decided to do.
how many acres does she have there?
That's 5.
5 acres?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, here's the radio air strip.
Radio
They have an agreement,
air,
easement
yeah.
agreement with Inland Ports right here,
Yeah.
and then this is our property back here.
So
Now,
the proposed builders have come in and taken a look at this property
Yes,
in person?
yes, they know it well,
Okay.
yeah. And just a couple ideas, and they said nobody's gonna be able to move, nobody's gonna work on coming forth with any plans until they have a legal access to the property, clear cut.
Councilman Wright and ourselves took a ride out there. It's been a little bit back, hasn't it? It's there's a lot of
It's a jungle right now.
it is, but could be a lot of possibilities.
Get a bunch of goats.
well, I suggested that to the homeowner out there, because he's got a kudzu problem, and I suggested that he buy several goats.
Oh, yeah.
And we own a large area on the other side of the
Of where
TVA
it is.
building that could still be used. Drac and I talked about as a place to our leaves in the fall. I mean, it's that deep, it would take years to fill that up. But again, what most of the developers we've talked to were the same site where the Renaissance Fair was. That's the more flat, easier developed area.
Yeah.
So I'll reach out to Inland Ports, and I'll keep y'all in the loop about what Mr. Ryan with Inland Ports says about our possibilities and our options.
Scott,
Yes.
of course, one option, if we're unable to negotiate an easement, one option is always to file a petition for condemnation and get access to our property that we need. Once you file the petition, you have to have a hearing. You gotta have 30 days in between the petition, getting it served, and then 30 days until it's heard. But when it's heard, if we have a public purpose, then the court's gonna grant us the easement. Then it's just all about what the cost of that is.
And that may be the route we've had to take. I've had several conversations with Mr. Ryan as these AI groups have come in, expressed interest in manufacturing. He said, we're more than willing. We just want to work with the city. Of course, this has been over the last few months, and sell to possible interested parties. So I'll see what
At least in negotiation, they could have some input as to where it would go. But if we file a petition for condemnation, it's pretty much where we want to put it. So,
Yeah, and our hope would be to
Something to
avoid a
keep
lot of
in
the
mind.
issues with the surveys, the 3 surveys that are on top of each other. None of them agree, none of them been filed. Of course, we had a ribbon cutting at Fred Davis Jr. Park a couple of weeks ago. That is now operated on the Ubiquity system. We have the cameras installed there, so they're monitoring not only the kitchen area, but also the bathroom doors and the side of the building. So just more added level of protection for citizens that are using it or anybody that might be up there that are trying to cause harm. So we now have that as part of our Ubiquity system. And as a reminder, 4 years ago, we started adding this Ubiquity system and trying to be consistent. I think in previous years, a lot of money had been spent on camera systems. None of them worked. They didn't work together. So 5 years ago, we started this Ubiquity system. Council agreed that we would try and expand, and that's what we're currently installing throughout the city as we expand. Also have the ability through Ubiquity to add card readers, or one thing we talked about using at our bathrooms, it's via Bluetooth through Ubiquity. It's very cost effective, and I'd like it looked at adding that at least to our Riverfront Park and Fred Davis Park this next year, and can be opened on time and closed at a certain time. Right now, our Parks and Rec, our police department locks those bathrooms at night, and our Parks and Rec opens the next morning. But be a whole lot easier convenience and security-wise as well to get those type of strike pads, I think is what we've been looking at. TDOT, we have had several meetings with TDOT over the past month and a half, and I promise you, I'm going to send you this study. We had them here about 3 weeks ago, where we had all the representatives and the new area supervisor, Amanda Snowden, I think is her name. So they told us the resolution that the council had passed, also coupled with the county commission resolution, bringing we need a focus on the interstate in Roane County, and not only the interstate, but also especially Highway 70 in Kingston, Harriman, and Rockwood. Completion of this study, and you'll see the hot spot is exit 352. Along the stretch in Roane County, accidents that occur are at or below the state level, with the exception of exit 352. They are at or significantly higher than the state average. So if you look at the intersection down in front of Walgreens, they have installed those 4 cameras. We provided 3 solutions for that area as far as reducing the amount of traffic flow, getting away from the flashing yellow. So they're looking at that very seriously. Also talking about this area here that we had talked about, that's coming out between Lowe's and Kroger. On this bottom side here, this is Weigel's, this is Bojangles. To give you an update on the hotel, they have satisfied all the requirements by the state fire marshal. They have also about finished their permitting process, so we hope to have a groundbreaking very soon, but they're going to move forward with the Hampton Inn and Suites. So this is a 2-lane road coming out right here. This is one area that council, we've talked about in our workshop. We met with our local TDOT rep, also met with the state and regional TDOT reps. Probably not going to get a traffic light there. Probably not going to get a J-turn at this time. They said it's a 2-fold process. If we will do our part, then they will come back and hopefully put those reflectors that you've seen maybe in Lenore City and Knoxville that'll prevent people from going across. So in meeting with Todd, our representative, local representative, the only thing that needs to be changed on this plan, and this is what he's worried about, you've got to allow somebody coming from Kingston to be able to make a left-hand turn into Weigel's and Bojangles. So basically, you would come out this route, and you would only be able to do a right turn only, if that makes sense, leaving Bojangles, leaving Weigel's. So that would take care of that situation on that side. On the other side is Kroger's, there's the bank, and there's the Valvoline Quick Change. We're going to have to take 2 lanes, and they're going to have to be funneled to one, but that will be a right turn only. This lane,
I know you need a pointer.
what I do, there's one on this.
Look, every time I'm here, I think about that. He needs a pointer.
Get him one with a light in it.
I mean, one that he can touch, not the electric.
Just hold it down.
Yeah, he needs a big long stick.
Hold on.
There you go, there you
Okay.
go.
I don't know how long this will last. So we want to take this area off because it's still going to be a right turn only right there. But people coming from Kingston have got to be able to make a left-hand turn to come into Weigel's and Bojangles. So this would be removed. This would be painted or concrete barriers put there. Up here, your 2 lanes come out of Kroger and Lowe's. This is we're gonna have to funnel.
So you'd still be able, if you're coming from Kingston, turn right
Right, yes.
into there.
Yes.
You
And
could
if-
come here to go to Kroger and Lowe's. Also, if you're coming from Rockwood, you can still turn left to go up into that. But as you exit,
You can't dart across.
you've got to come out and turn right. So the only thing TDOT is concerned about with this, these arrows that you see right here, TDOT is responsible for that.
Yes.
Now whether or not they put a concrete barrier or paint it right there, that would come at their responsibility.
What about the people that are leaving Bojangles, Weigels, that wanna go to Rockwood? What are we
And
gonna
this
do
is
with
the
them?
downside to this
Go to the
plan,
red
because
light.
right now, they cannot make a left-hand turn out of there. So we talked, as the hotel comes in down here, you're gonna have much more traffic, but that defeats the purpose. If you let them turn left out of there, it's still a dangerous situation. So TDOT like this, especially our local office, right turn only, even with when the hotel gets built, in all honesty, most of those people are gonna go to the interstate after their stay's over. The only other thing we're concerned about as well, this road right here in front of the doctor's office.
Yes.
Our responsibility stops right there, and then it becomes a parking lot. But a lot of people use that parking lot to access the road that comes out over
By the
here.
red
By the
light.
red light.
Seven Brew, the enrichment, and the hamburger station, burger station located. And that whole area is gonna get a lot more traffic. So the only concern with TDOT is if people make a right-hand turn, they come out of here and they really want to go to Kroger, they're gonna come up to this light and do a U-turn, which is even more dangerous, and
Right.
come back. What I learned in talking with law officials, at any intersection that has signals, U-turns are forbidden.
Right.
Because I mentioned we need to put a sign up, and he said, well, it's already illegal. And I said, well, I didn't know that. We need a sign put up because I think you're gonna see it on either case. Somebody who takes a right-hand turn out of here, wants to get their car washed or wants to go to Bojangles or wherever, they're gonna come up this intersection and make a U-turn right there and come back. So you're gonna see heavier traffic flow in both those intersections. So it's not a simple answer. But that's our plan right now going forward. So Drac and I met last week and then yesterday with the company. They will come in, they will mill those existing paint lines off, and that company will repaint that. Told Drac, I said, we need to put our mobile sign right up there, right turn only, 2 weeks before we go there, so people get used to it, especially coming out of Kroger and Lowe's, because there's gonna be some people upset. But again, the only reason we're doing this is to increase or decrease the chances of an accident. It's gonna increase safety for those people, and hopefully we'll see a decrease in accidents. Once we complete our part, then TDOT says they will either come in and install either a concrete barrier there or the standing reflective barriers, or paint those lines right there. But it was their opinion, this is the best plan.
So you can still come from the Kingston side and turn left into
Yes.
Weigels?
Yes, so
Okay.
this is a little misleading. Let's say
Right,
this
that
would
was
be
what-
taken off. You can
Okay.
still come here, make a left-hand turn and go into Weigels
Okay.
in that area, access the doctor's office.
What about those that are coming from Kingston that make a U-turn right there to go to the car wash?
Yeah, because I mean, people are gonna do U-turns. You sit at the Walgreens
All day long.
spot
they make
all
a
day
U-turn
long.
right
People,
there.
and usually it's a big truck that does the U-turn. Not necessarily there. Well, they do it there to go to the car wash and
It's
to get
all
that
day
pollen
long right
off.
there.
Yeah,
They make
people-
it-
So that's an interchange that does not have a light. So we can make that through our street committee. We can actually put a U-turn, no U-turns allowed right
Okay.
there.
Well, people are gonna drag us through Facebook, just so you know.
But again, it
But
is
again,
for
it's
the safety.
I agree.
And we'll try and,
I'm the
yeah.
one person that's been hounding you about change. Yes, safety, because if you're out there, you're really dodging for your life.
Yes.
Because depending on who the drivers are, the other cars, because they don't care. But the trucks, the big trucks making the U-turn up there by Walgreens, and then like Cheryl indicated, people are coming from Kingston or coming off the interstate. Ooh, I'm gonna go get my car washed, and they just do that U-turn, boom, boom, boom. So it's.
And it is, we're trying to be proactive about it. We know there's an issue now, but we've not had luckily a very, very serious accident in that location. But I think this is a step in the right direction, and then in talking with TDOT, they can make additional changes as we go, but they agree as well that this is probably our best plan to proceed.
Did they talk anything about the intersection, the main intersection?
But in front of Walgreens, yeah, I CC'd you on an email, I think last week, to our new director, just reminding her, after we finish that meeting, here's what we're looking to do. Not only the exit ramps, but right there in front of QT, we're gonna have a problem there. But I said our number one problem, our number one accident, and again, that was my suggestion, was the I-40 eastbound and westbound. We have 2 lanes. Those 2 lanes are left turn only, and then the middle lane can go straight to Kingston or turn and be I-40 eastbound, or go to Harriman.
Well, and here's my thing, if you have 3 lanes, and you have the inside that's either I-40 west or Harriman, and you have the center one going left to I-40 east or Harriman. But your problem right now is they're in such a rush to get through that light. When they make that left, they're going all the way over to the far lane, whether they're going to Harriman or the interstate, either way.
I sent a picture to TDOT. It was 1:30, can't remember the day last week, but this turning lane right here was
Oh, yeah.
backed almost to
Yeah.
this light.
Yes,
And
it
I
is.
stopped counting at 28 cars. And if you're coming from Rockwood, and here's the other issue, and that place is gonna get even busier, that is a quick change in light on a state highway, but it's quick changing because it backs up into the Kroger parking lot. So trying to release that traffic, and it's,
They have
That's-
to have it all in sequence. If one of them lights screws up, it's gonna be a mess. I mean, if one of them goes out, it's gonna be a disaster.
Please.
The reason, I was just trying to get the floor yielded to.
I'm sorry, yes, I yield it to you.
Just quickly, in Rockwood, we had that issue we were talking about because of the distance there between 27 Junction and Tedder Street. About the light that's there. That is no further than what you're talking about from the Kroger's entrance to that entrance there. And I think they're bloviating you. I think they should put a light there, and they can put a light there because of the traffic flow. And you need to push them and push them and push them.
I think the question comes down, did they actually come out and do an actual traffic study, or did they do an aerial and statistical analysis? Because what you just said is that they did a statistical analysis based on aerial data and common use, right? They're looking at the metrics, but they're not actually putting people out there on the 2 corners to do car counts during prime traffic sessions. Because if they do that, their policies will dictate they have to put in a light, and they don't want to do that.
they did a traffic study about 1.5 years ago. That's when they
Was
pulled
it an
that,
actual traffic?
they pulled
count?
that cord for
No,
the traffic
that's not
account.
That's not what that is. You have 2 people.
That's what TDOT said they did for a traffic study.
So that's not it. What it is you have 2 people that sit on the caddy corner, and they have little devices in their hands, and they run the numbers on either side. So they count the cars in peak hours. So you have 2 people, and you have lines across the traffic. So you have 3 independent metric collections, so they can run it. If they just put the lines across, they're just looking for volume.
And that's all,
volume-
that's all that
volume
was.
and
That's what they
tire
called the
count. Yeah,
traffic study. And as a result of that, I was told, we need to encourage the patrons to use the intersection with the traffic light. So I will, that's a good
Now, you need
point.
to stay
All
on
they
for
did
an
was use
actual
the
traffic
cord.
study, because he's right. They're just pushing you on down the road.
But the actual issue is speed.
Is
Everybody's in
speed,
a hurry.
Well, that's what a light does, traffic control system.
Right.
Yeah.
Stop here, you stop here, you stop down there. It's just gonna make it flow so much.
I sat in the left-hand turn lane, went through 3 light changes the other day, and people get impatient where they're
Yes.
coming to Harriman, going on the interstate, and they take unnecessary risk because
Right.
they've waited so long.
That's it.
So
I've
yeah,
sat for
Councilman
hours
Vansdale, I
at the
will
corner.
formally ask
So
for
you
a
want an
true,
actual count.
true
Sit
traffic
up there and
study.
And the thing that with Hampton Inn and Suites and Quick Trip coming, it's only gonna get heavier. Even if they do the study next month, 6 months from now, it's gonna be a totally different story.
And the 7 Brew, I
And
mean,
one-
that's gonna bring a lot of extra traffic.
One of my worries is the ones going to Midtown from Harriman that fly on Pine Ridge Road around that curve. And there you've got all your Quick Trip.
Yeah, I'm just concerned when people are coming out the interstate and are coming westbound, and you know how they come off of there. I try to make sure I'm in the other lane if I'm coming from Midtown. And they say,
Yeah.
oh, there's Quick Trip. And I just go in front of everybody.
And they go
just-
right on across.
I'm just afraid that's gonna be a disaster
And then you've
waiting
got
to
the-
happen because there is no signage or anything
we
to
have-
help.
That's just gonna be human nature.
It
We
is.
can't- They're gonna do dumb things.
We've been all over that, and, I mean, we know it's
gonna
gonna be a,
I have sat for hours and it's dumb measures that cause the accidents.
Just remind them of that.
It's
always
the
is.
speed and the impatience at
Scott,
this
correct
point
me
in
if
time.
I'm wrong, but TDOT
Yeah.
will not allow us a light. And, you know, we're developing property, that could play in, but am I correct? Because it's too close to the light on Highway 70?
The distance between the existing light in front of Walgreens intersection and the one coming out of Kroger, they say the proximity, it's too close by their
We
standards.
have, several people, you know, have told them what a catastrophe this is possible.
This goes back to our county mayor when Ron Woody was here. We submitted the crash, the data we have tried and tried.
Yeah.
And we'll continue. Hopefully, this new regional director, and like I said, formally request a true,
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to count. You want someone out there counting. Because the thing is, the way that map's laid out, that it just laying it across the road's not going to do anything. Because people are able to circumnavigate that. They go through the shopping centers. They go through the gas station. They're not hitting that.
Yeah.
That's why you actually have to have someone there counting, like how many right hand, how many left hands, how many people are illegally darting across the road.
Exactly.
Once you're able to see that over a course of time,
Good point.
then you're going to have something to be like, hey, this is ridiculous, and they know it. So they just don't.
oh yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Sure.
They do. And
Point. Very good point, David. Councilman.
so going back to traffic lights, so I met with TVA, and I'll bump down to this report on the property that's on the Harriman Crossing now. There is supposed to be a traffic light that the city of Kingston and the steam plant right there as you're accessing into the plant, TVA steam plant, you go under the interstate there. TVA is having fits getting a light placed there. They've been working in conjunction with TVA. They've been putting the Kingston police officers down there.
The direct traffic.
Yes.
Yep.
So they have been waiting over a year. They can't figure it out. And so I told TVA, I said, sounds like trying to get a dock permit. And now you know how it feels. But I was told, yeah, when I said, I can't speak for the city, but we'd be willing to put a light there. The cost, when we started talking about a light here 4 years ago, was approximately $60,000 to $75,000. TVA's been quoted over $300,000 for the cost of a light on the entrance. And that was from two TVA officials today. So I will back off my statement. The city will be willing to pay for that light. But TDOT did tell us it's the responsibility of the developer to pay for that cost of the light. So that's where we are. We are going to paint those lines. It'll be right-hand turn only coming out of Kingston and Lowe's. We'll adjust it coming out of the Tanner Way between Weigels and Bojangles, so that it's right-hand turn, but if you're coming from Kingston, you can make a left-hand turn to access that. And we'll do our part and then hold TDOT's feet to the fire to do what's needed in the middle of the road, as well as an official traffic study. And we will try and alert, give the public plenty of notice. This is about to be right turn only, because, yes, we'll hear about it. But again, it's for the safety.
Thank you,
Um,
thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Talked with Senator Yeager several times. We had proposed several documents and made several trips to Nashville for some help with our Midtown crossing. We are very blessed to get some help from the state. So we need to decide as a council how we want to best effectively spend that. So I talked to the mayor at our next council meeting, May the 5th. I'd like to have a workshop to lay out a clear direction. We've done several things up there, but how can we best prepare ourselves to move forward with that? And that'll be our plan, and certainly appreciate the efforts of Senator Yeager. And that's funding we didn't have before, but how do we best want to use that? At our last council meeting, and I'm sort of glad, even though I was not here, we had iWorks for our building permitting that was not passed, which is fine. So what we've done now that we possibly have a true candidate for a building inspector, our next step is to determine what program works best. So I talked with Natasha, with Amber, and with Nathan. So what they're going to do, we're going to do these processes where we have a sample, and we'll let you all know when that is. Several of the programs from OpenGov to NewGov to LocalGov that all have building permit programs, but what Nathan has already got scheduled too is the city of Tullahoma, the city of Oak Ridge, and Rockwood. He's going to go visit them to see what process they use. So hopefully we can come back now that we can start moving forward. It takes approximately about a month and a half, 2 months to get a program up and running. So I think a fair goal for us would be by either the end of this fiscal year or the start of the fiscal year to have our permitting in place. But we'll certainly keep you in the loop in that. And we also found out that, I can tell you about that later. Home grant. Keita has looked into that. She's going to attend a webinar at the end of this month, and that is a very good grant. The city had this before I came on board. They were awarded certain money. It costs nothing for the city, but it's a grant that allows residences up to an X amount of dollars to fix their houses up. And they had 5 houses on par in the previous home grant, but they had issues with the third house, which caused houses 4 and 5 to not get completed in a timely manner, and we had to return about $93,000, which made us ineligible for 2 to 3 years to apply for that grant. So Keita's going to go through those steps, and hopefully it'll be a good issue. And then, to my understanding, somebody who wants to take part of this or get part of this funding, they complete an application, and then based on that application, their home is chosen for those repairs.
And just to say, I was the person, I guess, been hounding Keita about it because somebody in the community had been hounding me about it, constant calls, and I kept saying, there is no home grant this year. I said that last year, and then I said it again this year. When I hear something, I will let you know, because they did actually rebuilt 3 homes on Unaka Drive up there near F.R. Davis Park. They tore down the old homes and built brand new homes. Miss Carrie Barksdale was one of the homes. So I know
it's
it
a great
happens.
grant
I know
to
they do
offer.
it, and it was free of charge.
Yeah, and so hopefully Keita will be able to come back with information on May the 5th about that, and we'll start the process to apply. And you are correct, Vice Mayor. There was a couple of years where the grants were not offered, so I think it's this first time it's become available. Also forwarded you all with the situation that's going on in Iran. We put in our budget, we were spot on with the fuel. At one point, our low rate, and our rate varies just about every day. Our lowest was about $1.81, I think, per gallon, and the highest we've been is at $2.64. And Keita can correct me; she keeps a closer eye on that. But who knows when this situation is going to end? I just bring that forward to tell you. We may be over in our line items for budget this year, even though we're at the end, but I don't expect any of the total or the bottom line numbers to be over budget because of it. But it'll certainly have to cause us to step back and look going into the 26-27 fiscal year, the situation we're in. It's the same thing I checked with Luther at HUB. The diesel has not spiked as high as we thought. We still purchase our diesel from the HUB pump down there, but they're in the same situation. And again, it's affecting everybody nationwide. So just want to give you a heads up on that. I think Keita had taken those reports and circled just an example of a low point and a high point, but those rates do change daily. It's still going through Fuel Man is the lowest, cheapest price we can get to our knowledge at this time.
That's good.
We finalized the Harriman TCAT Roan State sign. We hope to start work on that in Midtown on sometime next week. And again, that's the Harriman sign that'll also showcase we're home to Roan State and to TCAT. TCAT's going to die cut our letters. We've submitted the plans in order. Roan State, Tasman Miller is going to tell us based on the height and the width of the sign, it's going to be 40 feet. On the ends, it'll be 8 feet high with a wall 5 feet in the middle, and we'll have 3 columns. I think y'all have seen that. So she's going to make sure that the letters are in right proportion for not only the city of Harriman, but also for Roan State and TCAT. And again, this is something we've been working on. It's a partnership with Roan State. Dr. Whaley said he thinks it's great because none of the cities where they have a Roan State campus has anything like that, recognizing Roan State and TCAT. And we're truly blessed to have them here.
That's right.
And Chris Whaley even mentioned, he said, you know, as people get off this interstate and visit, it's going to show that we're truly dedicated to education in our town. So very excited. And then TCAT is going to do the brickwork and the masonry work for us. So it'll be a good partnership, and hopefully have that started, rolling, completed very soon.
Yeah, a long time coming, and I think it's gonna look fantastic.
Longer, I know, than some people realize, but it was working with TDOT and making sure we're not on the right of way and the 99-year lease. And thanks to the Summit Medical Group, because they're the ones that have rented that portion of land, 99-year lease for $1. So we worked through all that and ready to get the thing up and everybody be able to look at it and be proud of it. Also been talking with Candace and Tommy Bernard at HUB. We've run into numerous areas in the city that we own that we need fiber. And I said, we need a pricing plan. What's it going to look like for us? Because that would be a huge cost. So sat down with Tommy last week, and we looked at, here are the locations now that we need fiber. Here are future locations. And then based on how many cameras, so Tommy's going to be able to tell us what is the best value for our money. We don't necessarily need certain gigs in this place. We need more here in City Hall. So working on that and looking forward to that transition, because if I've talked to people that have the HUB fiber, they have been very happy, and we want to be one of those happy customers as well. Sarah called us. We've been a little worried. Talking about our renewal for United Healthcare, and it's a little late. Last year we had Blue Cross Blue Shield for 2 years, and the increase for Blue Cross, had we stayed with them, was going to be an approximate $212,000 extra dollars. So we made the decision last year to go with United Healthcare. We feel like we're in a very good position, bargaining position. Talked with Sarah. She's going to go before Cigna, the state, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and United Healthcare. She was expecting possibly anywhere from an 18 to 20% increase. But what we got back from United Healthcare was much lower than that, and she thinks we can actually get it lower. So now she will represent the city. She will get us a good deal, a very good deal, and then we'll bring that before the Personnel and the Finance Committee to make a recommendation before we have a second reading of our budget. Did meet with TVA's representatives today, Michael Clemens and Brian Johnson, about the 70 acres at Harriman Crossing. This has been going on for 3 or 4 years. And if you remember, we looked at a plan that included a 6-acre lake, which was on Harriman Crossing, which was ridiculous. But that plan has been redone. Again, it's just preemptive plans, but the possibility of moving that takes care of our stormwater, our retainage ponds that could go on TVA. Now we have a passive recreation lake, because TVA's come back and said the only way we'll let you have this property is it's for recreation. It's where our multi-sports facility was going to go. We talked about today even putting a mountain bike trail up through there, hiking trails, and then we've got our retention pond or our drainage pond, our duck pond, whatever we want to call it. So felt very confident. We're still at disagreement from one government entity to another government entity, but they don't have a CEO TVA right now, and the mayor and I have talked about going before the new board and just making sure they're aware of it. But we've been, like I said, to DC, and again, it's an ongoing project, but I think it's going to behoove us to take our 70 acres. Councilman Vansdale's been involved. Well, I think all of y'all have. Let's look at that, and then we can worry about the TVA property when that happens. Getting close to the end, I promise you. I promise you. Very excited. We got the Carnegie Institute $10,000 check. We also cashed in the CD. The library board voted to do that. We've had several donations that have made the new carpeting possible at the library, and that starts tomorrow. So Ben Briley and our inmates, volunteers at the library, moved everything downstairs, moved all the books out. They've moved the shelves. So Garrett & Sons, who was the low bidder, will start downstairs tomorrow in the children's library. And then the shelves were too big to get out. We had already talked to where could we store the shelves. So then what we'll do is, as that carpet's put down, we'll move the shelves back, and then they'll finish the other part of the children's theater, and then they'll move upstairs. So as a result, I talked with Connie yesterday. We closed the library starting today through the end of the week because so much stuff had been moved upstairs. We're hoping to get finished by Friday or Saturday, but depending on the progress.
So Ben and his crew are assisting with that movement as the carpet is being put down?
Moving the books and moving the shelves,
Yes,
and
that's
moving
what
the
I mean.
computers. Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Because I was under impression at the last library board meeting, they were not going to start to this coming Monday, but.
Okay, that was the impression too, and they decided they got the carpet in sooner than than they thought, because we were gonna meet yesterday to come up with a plan, how we gonna move this
Right,
and make
right,
it work. Spoke with Connie yesterday morning, Garrett and Sons called and said, hey, we've got the carpet in, we can start sooner rather than later. So we made the decision, let's go ahead and get it done.
Okay.
And effectively got everything moved downstairs, so it's ready for carpet to be put in.
Okay.
I did send an email too, and what I included in your packet, this is just an example. Of what the budget currently looks like at this time, and it's front and back. But some of these don't have numbers filled in. That's why it's very important. If you're on a committee or you'd like to attend, we have a street committee meeting on Friday. We also have police committee meeting. We will use those committee meetings to finalize the numbers in there before we have the personnel or the finance committee, before we come back to a first reading, hopefully, which will occur on Tuesday, May the 19th. So if we could get a first reading on our budget at that point, we should have our final numbers back from the auditor. Be the best situation we've been in a long time. We can still make adjustments or numbers to that to have a second reading on June 16th. But as you look down through there, we have been meeting with our department heads every month, but have already started talking about their budgets in January. So the next thing they have to provide, it'll be included on a separate sheet, their 1-year needs, their 3-year needs, and their 5-year needs, which will allow us, that'll have a price attached to it. So we, meaning the city council, can plan effectively for large capital expenditures that'll come over the next 5 or 10 years.
Am I mistaken, or did we not decide to not give any money to the Expo Center?
Where you see it at, Cheryl?
It's 772 on, it says we moved from 50,000 to 25,000.
Yeah, now, that could still change. What's gonna happen this year is, talking with County Commissioner Ron Berry, they are gonna pay our 25, so we get to keep, we will only send them 25 this year. We'd put in there for 50, and then their proposal was 5,000 a year for the next 5 years, and then we keep it all. Of course, we can certainly go back and say, we want to keep all 50. That number can be changed.
And I have a problem with the Expo Center. We're giving them 50,000 or 25,000, and they just don't do a whole lot anymore.
I did go before the budget committee a couple of weeks ago and offered 2 suggestions based on the 4%. Yeah. And my suggestions to the budget committee, all right, so you got your 4%. What I would like to see, maybe you put a line item in each budget, in the budget for each city, that we get 2% back to go for tourism and economic development. I gave an example of our expenditure sheet that Jen has done. Yeah. Here are our events for next year. It's going to cost $82,000. We'll bring this back and we'll show you how the money was spent. So we gave that, as well as, or do it like you do the community investment grant. We can apply, hey, we need something, we want to help. We need help, financial help with Hooray for Harriman, May Day, these concerts. But I told them, in my opinion, I thought it was best advice was just put it in the line item. And if it gets used, we need to prove and show how we used it. If it doesn't, it stays in the county coffers. And it was a 2% based on that 4%.
And they said no.
No, they liked the idea. This was just a budget committee meeting.
Okay.
So I plan on going back to the next county commission meeting and say, I talked to the budget meeting, this is what we're looking for. So.
Okay.
But yes, this year we got in the budget, we're supposed to pay 50,000,
right,
but we're only going to pay 25,000. And then going forward, of course, we can certainly decide, do we want to go forward to 25 or 20 or nothing?
They just, when they first started, they were a part of Harriman, and I don't know if it's the people that are over it now. There's just not that many shows.
And we heard that from our hoteliers.
Yeah.
They don't have as many people staying there as they did when it officially opened.
And I get that, because Rome State put all of the electric units in for the trailers. I get that part, but I just have a hard time supporting something that doesn't give back.
And I think we're all in agreement on that. Okay. Just a reminder, as I close up my report, the delinquent property tax sale is going to be held this Saturday at 9 o'clock on the courthouse steps, correct?
Well, within the courthouse.
In the courthouse, yes.
Courthouse, in the courtroom.
And then the last thing, just encourage everybody, early voting started last Wednesday, and the numbers, I check those numbers every day, and it's been higher than I thought. I think there's a misconception out there. It's the Republican primary. And somebody who might be a Democrat or an independent, well, I don't need to vote in that. But we have several key races that there is no independent or Democrat that's running, and they are going to be decided by the Republican primary early voting. So they can vote at any of the community centers. I think Millstone Church in Oak Ridge, it's 9 to 5 every day and 9 to 1 on Saturday. But we've got 1 week left, and this is important. And so if you have the ability, please get out and vote.
And the bad part about the primary situation is, just like Christine Fink said, because she had voted in a Democrat situation one time and last so many years, kept her from being on the Republican ticket, and your diehard Dems are not going to vote in the Republican primary because it shadows them forever.
Well, I don't know if that's true, is it?
And I was going to say, correct me if I'm wrong, because when I went in to vote, I didn't have to declare if I was Republican, Democrat, or independent.
But when you vote in a Republican primary,
Right.
that is law in the election commission.
But when I come back and vote again the next time, I can vote as a Democrat.
But your Democrats, your big Democrats, are not going to vote because it shadows them because they have voted in a Republican primary.
Okay, well, I guess I may not understand the word what shadow means, because, I mean, our position is nonpartisan. So, you're correct, but I'm saying, I voted as a Republican when, I can't even remember when, this is going several years ago, because I wanted to vote for one of the people, because I don't vote party, I vote people.
Right, but you're voted people.
Right.
But you're people that are so strong one way.
I see what you're saying,
You know,
okay.
And it would shadow them to vote in a Republican primary if they were running in a Democrat.
Okay, if they was running as a Democrat,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So I guess I can't run for governor as a Democrat then.
Not if you vote Republican anytime.
Chris, you see how I jumped from city council to governor?
You can.
That's funny. It is funny, because that won't ever happen.
One thing about delinquent taxes, the properties, we're down to 13.
Oh, okay, so people
So-
come in, that's great.
So, yeah, it's great. You know, we send out a letter to every delinquent
Right,
taxpayer and encouraging them to pay their taxes.
And that's been a trend. I think Chris has noted over the past 2 or 3 years, those number of properties have reduced greatly.
There's an economic reason for people to
Hang on to
pay
their
their taxes
property,
now,
yeah.
because their properties are worth more than they've ever been.
Yes, that's true.
We,
People want to hang on to
we
it.
do the Oak Ridge city taxes as well, and Oak Ridge, Rome County only has 3 left.
Wow.
Really?
That's a good
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad ours has gone down to 13, because it was several, so, yeah.
It was.
Good.
But property is more important now, people, more valuable, people want to hang on to what they got, so even if it's small, so.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Mr. Owens.
That is the conclusion of my report. And again, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Can we wake up now?
But
Thank you,
unless you got
Scott.
any questions for me, even if you don't have them tonight, you can certainly call any time and
Okay.
let me know. But I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mason. We'll move on now to our new business. Item A, discuss and possibly approve an internal control procedure for the payroll account signatories at one bank to include the city mayor or city vice mayor and the city manager or city clerk.
Motion.
Second.
It's been motioned and second. Anybody's got any comments? You, Mr. Brackett? Mr. Wright?
No.
Do you all need further information from Scott? I think we covered this the last time, Scott.
Yes, yeah, we did.
Teresa, call the roll.
Tim Johnson,
Yes.
Alicia Harris.
Yes.
John Brackett.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Yes.
Cheryl Laxton.
Yes.
David Bansdale.
Yes.
Motion passed. Item B, discuss and possibly approve a first reading on ordinance 0426-01, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Harriman, Tennessee, amending sections 13-401 through 13-407 of the Harriman Municipal Code.
Motion.
It's been motioned by Councilwoman Laxton. Anything?
No.
Councilman
No, ma'am.
Johnson? I would at this time like to yield the floor to our attorney, Mr. Owens, to provide additional information on this particular ordinance.
Yes, so our abandoned and junked vehicle ordinance that we've had for years and years and years is out of date. Over the past few years, the legislature has adopted what's called the Motion Act, M-O-T-I-O-N Act, and it changed a few things. It changed some of the definitions. And so now we don't call them junked vehicles, we call them immobile vehicles. So I like junk just as well, but, so they've changed a few things. In addition to that, they have created a web page, and it's called a portal. And it won't be available until later on this year, and it's all part of the act, but it will allow our folks to look up the owners of the vehicles and then provide them with notice. And so a much simpler and well-structured process. What you have before you is the ordinance, and what it says is we repeal the ordinance that we have in place. And I could go through it in detail if I needed to, but there are several areas where it is just vastly different than, and what we've done, we've run into this in trying to enforce it. And so we really do need to change it. And we're holding off actually on a couple of matters that need to be enforced because of this. So it's vastly needed. What you have behind it is a guide to the removal of abandoned or immobile vehicles. And part of that guide is before the portal, and part of it is after the portal. So right now we're before the portal. So pre-portal, and there's a whole procedure. That's here for our folks. I wanted you to see it, but that's here for our folks to use in enforcing the ordinance. It's not going to be part of the ordinance itself. It is just a guide.
Guidance.
Yeah.
So I make the assumption that Chief Tapp has reviewed this.
I'm not sure if he has or not. It's the
Because
law.
they'll be the ones that
It
will
is the
be
law.
doing the
It
enforcement.
is statutory.
Right, but I'm just talking about in reference to the guidance. They will be the ones that will provide this.
They and
The PD and our codes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
so,
codes,
yeah,
okay.
we've shown them, the ordinance, that the changes need to be made. That's why, on the advice of our legal counsel, we've stopped towing anything until
Okay.
we're in accordance with the Tennessee code annotated.
Yeah.
And this is our first reading, so we have another reading. And so until that time, we can't do any towing of vehicles until we pass this ordinance.
Correct.
If the vehicle were to be impeding traffic,
Right,
if it
that's
were to be a
different.
safety
Yes,
hazard, of
yes.
course, we would tow that vehicle.
Correct.
But there are other situations where it's more iffy.
Okay.
And we have quite a lot of immobile vehicles in this town, and we've been making a lot of headway on it. But just gonna
Stop.
pause and make sure we have the portal and pre-portal and post-portal, and make sure we're doing it exactly as the law permits.
Exactly.
We thank you, Mr. Owens, you and
You're
your
welcome.
group for making us aware that we were outdated, which we're probably a lot outdated on a lot of our ordinances, but thank you for doing this so that we can stay legal and make sure we do everything correctly. So the motion's on the floor. Any more questions or concerns? Teresa, call the roll.
Tim Johnson,
Yes.
Alicia Harris.
Yes.
John Brackett.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright,
Yes?
Cheryl Laxton,
Yes.
David Vansdale.
Yes.
Motion carried. Item C, discuss and possibly approve resolution R 0426-02, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Harriman calling for public hearing on the proposed annexation of tax parcel located at 149 Pine Ridge Road, identified as map 036K, Group A, parcel 019.00, and is zoned A2 Developing Agricultural District by the City of Harriman, Tennessee, and to the City of Harriman by owner consent and approving a plan of services.
Motion.
Second.
It's been motion and second, motion by Councilman Brackett. Anything?
No, ma'am.
Councilwoman Blackston?
No. Unless somebody wants to
Scott, do you want to
ask questions.
Clarification.
ask questions? Anybody got any questions?
I think a little clarity would be good. It's
Okay.
unusual for an owner to want to join the city.
Yes.
It's just a very small little piece.
Parcel.
Yeah, that makes it all the more strange.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's to
Unified.
get into, go ahead, Scott, I'm sorry.
Well, you were there too.
Yeah.
It's the highlighted parcel right
But
there.
it's, if you see, Longview Road there, when you come up Longview, right there in that little corner is the only piece. It's just a very small slither of piece that we would be annexing in, basically.
Why does he want it annexed?
He's
Why
gonna
is it-
build houses.
Okay. That's the question I had is why?
He gonna build it, what is that, 18 or not, what is that, 19 or, what is that in purple?
19, right now, he doesn't have clear-cut access on
Right.
Pine Ridge. so
Okay,
he
I
wants-
see what you're
He's
saying.
asking this to be annexed so that they can have the entrance to and from
To go
Longview
in,
Drive.
okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
a small piece. But his plan is to build, he said, he hadn't measured it all, but at least probably 10 houses.
Okay.
Okay.
And he's a good builder.
So was this before the planning commission as well? Okay.
Yes.
That's why he's wanting to annex it. Wants us to annex it so it can be part of his entire parcel for the city. So
Yeah,
then
it's
he
just-
can, yeah, okay.
A
Be
little
inclusive,
so we can have a road going into it.
So 19.00 is already in the city, right, Cheryl?
No,
It's not.
That's the parcel that he's asking to be annexed.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Into the city.
Anybody else got any questions?
That's all I wanted to know.
And he also has requested that HUB provide all utility
That's
services
great, that's great, that's great.
at his expense, because he is the
Yes.
developer, so if you see the plan,
yeah,
HUB doesn't pay the expenses, we don't pay the expenses.
Yeah, he
The
takes-
developer would pay.
Exactly.
he takes care of
There
all
was
that.
some discussion about that.
Yeah.
It's a good, yeah. It's a good thing.
Anybody else? Thank you, Mr. Mason. Teresa, go ahead and call the roll, please.
Tim Johnson,
Yes.
Alicia Harris.
Yes.
John
Yes.
Brackett,
Sorry. Yes.
Lonnie Wright,
Yes.
Cheryl Laxton,
Yes.
David Vansdale.
Yes.
Go ahead. I yield the floor to Mr. Mason.
And I explained to to Donnie, this is a long process, doesn't matter if it's a large parcel or not. So what John and Gavin, what they were able to do is a step-by-step, and I included that in your packet, there are 20 steps that have to take place
Yes.
before we can annex. The public hearing for this will be on June the 2nd. It seems like a long way off, but when you go through there, I think it's 30 days. We have to notify the school district. We've several entities that have to be prior to this second hearing. So we will start that process tomorrow morning, sending these letters out should this be approved.
We approved it. Okay, we'll move on to our last item, item D, discuss and possibly approve the recommendation from the Harriman Regional Planning Commission to deny the request from Christy Gelderman, I hope I'm saying that correctly, on behalf of Don Epperly, property owner of 3166 Walker Road, Harriman, Tennessee, 37748, identified as map 0260, Group G, parcel 006.00, to rezone from C2 to R1 to subdivide the property and place 3 homes. I hope I said the names correctly.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
It's been motion and second. Councilwoman Laxton, anything?
Not unless somebody has a question.
You want to provide some clarity of what happened at the planning commission, please?
The property is, if you know where Golston's service station is,
Straight up.
the hill goes up Walker Road. There is, the first house on the left is a gray house that has been flipped and there's some people living in it. Right past there would be a driveway that would go down over the hill, and there would be 3 double wides that would either back Rome Street or front Rome Street. But the biggest thing was, we had set a precedence prior to that we would not turn commercial into residential. And so we stuck with that, and we told them no. And plus the fact that they were double wides on Rome Street. So,
Mr. Vansdale.
Us agreeing, so this is to agree with
the planning.
the planning
That's
commission.
correct.
That's what a yes vote would
Yeah.
then entail, is
Yes.
that we agree with that.
Yes.
Okay,
And deny the request.
correct.
That's
Correct.
right. A yes denies the request.
Yes.
Make sure that's clear for all. That's it.
Any more discussion? I'll yield the floor to Mr. Mason.
Following the planning commission's recommendation, Mr. Clay Powers here was presenting this, so he and I are gonna meet tomorrow. He said, can the city, he said, if it's gonna be commercial, he said, can I have some ideas? I need some help. I said, absolutely, you know, we want commercial. So he and I will be meeting tomorrow to look at possible commercial entities that could actually go on that property, Chevrolet dealership.
Great, great. Yes, it looks awful lonely coming down the hill, don't it? No more discussion. Teresa, call the roll.
Tim Johnson,
Yes.
Leisha Harris.
Yes.
John Brackett.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright,
Yes?
Cheryl Laxton,
yes.
David Vansdale.
Yes.
Motion passed. At this time, we'll ask for council remarks. Mr. Wright,
No, ma'am.
Mr. Vansdale,
No, ma'am.
Mr. Johnson. No. Mr. Brackett,
No, ma'am.
Ms. Lax.
No, I'm good.
I'd just like to take this time to thank the mayor, the city employees, and I'm thinking about all of our city employees showed up for the F.R. Davis ribbon cutting. Also for Parks and Rec for the outstanding job that they did in getting everything done. For all of you all who were able to eat some of the greens and enjoy the food that was up there. A whole lot of people appreciated all of the, I'll just say, home cooking that was provided. But thank you all. Dudley, you were there as well, and I thank you so much for covering all of our activities and all of our events. It's greatly appreciated. But again, thank you all for coming up to F.R. Davis for the ribbon cutting. Everybody was well pleased and happy with how the structure looked. It looks outstanding. So something we've never had before, and the entire community is greatly appreciated.
It's okay if
I'm very sorry I missed.
Oh, okay.
I found out how hard it was to try to get dressed, get a baby dress.
Oh, yeah,
get
oh,
a-
yeah. Well, you missed out on the greens.
I
How about
did.
Well,
that?
I was gonna say,
I missed.
I will,
That's good.
I will concur with Council Lady, Vice Mayor, Miss Lisa Harris. It was wonderful, great time, and I'm telling you, if you didn't get some of those greens, man, I'm telling you, I'm hunting for the recipe.
But
It was really good.
It was good.
Thank you all who were
Some
able to
kinda
come, and again, I think the community is greatly appreciated. I know I'm appreciative of everything that was done. It was a long time coming, but thank you all.
Is it okay to say that there's gonna be June 13 or?
Yeah,
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth, yeah, they'll be having
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth celebration.
That's always, I tell you what, I always try to go up there.
It's a
I
great
always have
day.
a wonderful time. Good people, always some good food, and,
Now he's
And
going
some
for the food.
spades,
shoot.
and some spades
I'm not gonna lie about
There you
that, but I also see a lot of good people too,
Yes.
cause I spent a lot of time in that area when I
I
was a
think,
kid.
Wade Criswell's wife Juanita and RJ kinda are top ranked in the spades.
Oh, yeah, they did do good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did do good. Yeah,
Yeah.
they did. If that's it, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion. Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Council dismiss.
Yeah.
Did you get some greens?